Are homeschoolers weird? Well, let's address this myth and a few others in this video. Hey friends, I'm so excited that you're joining me for this video today. If we haven't met yet, I'm Ashley from joyfulnoiselearning.com, and I'm glad you found me here. We are doing another collab in this video. This collab is hosted by Wendy, who's from Plan Prep Pray. She does amazing videos. I just met her this summer and I've been following her channel. I think you need to follow her too. She has an incredible sense of humor, which I love, and she brings lots of joy and really good practical tips for motherhood, homeschooling, and sharing your faith with others. So go check out her channel and the video that she shared on the homeschooling myths. Also in this collab, I have a few other friends who are sharing, so be sure to check out the playlist below and see what all these other moms talked about, the myths about homeschool. So I've decided to cover 5 myths that a lot of people think or have wondered about homeschool. So let's jump into these myths right now. So the first one, which I know that probably many of us are going to be covering this, but a lot of people wonder, what about socialization? When kids are at home more often, how are they going to spend time with other people and other families? And I know this is probably going to look a whole lot different this year, especially in 2020, going into the 2021 school year. It might look a whole lot different with the pandemic and many people worried about getting sick these days and protecting their families. And that's totally fine. Just so you know that if you homeschooled this last year, if you were thrown into homeschooling because of the pandemic, that it is not normally like that. We normally get to get out and go to places, invite people over, join co-ops, things like that. So homeschoolers have many opportunities to hang out with other people. And especially if you're an extroverted person like I am, hanging out with other people is a must. I must hang out with other people. I stayed home with just my kids all day for too long and I go a little bit crazy. So the only thing with needing to socialize and be with other people, you have to be more intentional about it. That means inviting people over to your house, especially in this time. It's okay to still meet in small groups, I totally believe, in many states. So that means inviting one other family at least to your house or going to their house or meeting at a public place in a safe area and meeting at least one other family so your kids can hang out with other children. Be more intentional about it. But with homeschooling in general, there are many opportunities to spend time and socialize with people of different ages. So there's more opportunities to go see grandparents, possibly. It depends on how the pandemic goes, but in general, we normally can spend time with grandparents. We can spend time with neighbors. We can spend time with siblings. Kids that have other siblings are already socializing. They're spending time with people who are not themselves. So socializing isn't just hanging out with other kids your child's age. Socializing is spending time with other people in general. So even in the family itself, children are getting socialization skills. You've probably seen this in your children. Do they fight? Do they have conflict? Do they have to learn how to resolve that conflict? Yes, I'm sure that's happening every day in your house. So that already is learning socialization skills, learning how to share, learning how to take turns, learning that not everything is just about you. That already happens in a family. You don't necessarily have to send your kid away to school with a classroom full of 20 other kids to learn how to share and to take turns. So also, homeschool families at this time are still able to be involved in extracurricular activities. There's music classes, there's theater groups, there's sports teams. There's still lots of opportunities for kids to be able to spend time with other people doing things that they love. One thing I like about homeschooling is we get to be able to spend time in those outside of the house extracurricular activities, but because we're not out of the house for school, we're at home the rest of the time. So I feel like it's a give and take. It's like, oh, we've been out of the house so much this week already because of soccer and piano and church group. Now we can stay home and regroup and just relax instead of having to send my kid away for 5 days out of the week with 6 hours away from the home. Does that make sense? But anyway, those are my thoughts on socialization and homeschoolers. Myth number 2 is that homeschoolers are weird. I'm sure you've heard that before. I've heard it before. I've been accused of it before. But you know what? Yes, we're weird. We're a little weird. We have our quirks. For some families, we may not know about all the pop cultural things that are out there right now, but my kids do. They watch TV and we have the internet, so we're still exposed to things that other mainstream school children are exposed to. But on one hand, we may be weird in our own way, but there's mainstream school kids who are weird too. I don't think it's a trait of just homeschool kids. If you're worried about your kids being weird, then just raise them as healthy adult people. It's more about the parents and the culture that you place your kids in and that you create at home than necessarily the people they're around or the school that they're at. So it all really depends on the parents and what you pass on to your children. If you want them to be weird, go for it. Be weird. If you want them to be normal, try your best to be normal. It's up to you. Myth number 3, oh, that would be 6. Myth number 3 is that homeschooling is just for religious or faith-based families. And you know what? That's not all true. Though many of us homeschoolers currently may be faith-based, or especially Christian, and we choose to homeschool because of that, I know there are many families who can do this even though they are not religious or have a certain kind of faith. Because the point is you want to be able to teach your kids your values and what you believe your values are. Homeschooling is a great place to do that, whether you are a Christian or whether you're not, or whether you're something else. It is not just for the religious families. There are actually many great curriculum options out there that are not faith-based. There are many that are faith-based because a lot of us are Christian families, but if you're not, there are lots of other opportunities out there for non-faith-based families. I even know of some YouTubers that are non-religious and choose to secular homeschool. I will link them in the description box below. Myth number 4 is that you need to have an extra dose of patience in order to homeschool. And I'm saying this one because I've heard so many people say to me, I don't have enough patience, I couldn't do that. And I totally get what they're saying, totally understand. Because you're right, with being around your children as often as you are, it does take a lot of patience. But the thing is, I'm not necessarily a person who's gifted with an extra dose of patience. I'm really not. I think we all have the same opportunity for the same amount of patience for anybody. And I think even in parenting, we all need to learn patience anyway. No matter how much your kids are with you time-wise, whether they go away to school or stay at home, you're still learning to be patient with your children and give them the grace that they need as they go throughout their day. You still need to learn to be patient with your children as you are interacting with them and teaching them and growing them. And part of me feels like that can be a little bit of an excuse because it does take hard work. So I'm not saying that parents that do send their children to school are not hard workers and do not care about their children. I'm not saying that. Please don't hear me say that. But I do want to say that if you are seriously considering this, know that it's going to be okay. You're going to learn patience along the way. And if you are a believer, if you do know Jesus, that you have the Holy Spirit inside of you, and He is the one that supplies the patience anyway. It's not what comes from us. It really does take us laying down our lives and our selfishness in the moment and trusting that Jesus is going to be the patience in us towards our children that they need. Yes, you can do this. It's not just for people who think they have a lot of patience in the world, because I definitely don't. I have definitely grown myself, and it can be very, very hard some days. And the final myth, number 5, is that you have to be a skilled teacher in order to homeschool. Now, for those of us who are former teachers or have some kind of training in teaching, or who love teaching, maybe not have even been a teacher, maybe they do have a little leg up. They do have a little bit of a benefit. But there are so many resources these days for homeschooling that any person can homeschool. Any mom, any dad or grandma. If you feel like you need to have your children at home this year, you don't have to be skilled at teaching. What I've learned is that every parent already is skilled in teaching, and especially because the kids they're little sponges. They're going to learn. You don't have to worry about messing up your kids. And it's not about creating amazing lesson plans or having beautiful whiteboards or classrooms. It's about being present with your kids and presenting before them a wonderful feast that they can choose from in order to learn. There are many curriculums out there that are open and go, that are that give you a script even, where they even tell you exactly what to say. So anybody can pull a book out of this and do it with their kids. And really, even a lot of just reading to your kids is what's going to help them learn and help them grow. And if you need any help in learning how to teach certain things, there are channels all across YouTube that will help you and supplement these things for you. I even have an ebook that I wrote that will help you get started in homeschooling if you don't know what you need, where you need to start, or what you need to pick. I'm always searching YouTube for other classes and teachers and people who can teach things that I'm not really good at. So math, for example, I don't teach math very well. I'm more of an English person and history and even science, but math, I'm like, I don't know, just do it. Just read the assignment and do it. But there's a YouTube channel I found that I love. It's called Math Antics, if you'd like to know. But the guy on there is an amazing teacher. He's engaging and he's thorough and he makes sense to the kids. So I use his channel to be able to teach my kids. So the bottom line is you don't have to be a great teacher. You just have to love your kids, find the right resources, and use them. And then your kids will learn and they will do just fine. Because kids are wired to learn. They really will. So thank you so much for watching my video. I'm so glad you're here. If you like homeschooling videos, learning about homeschooling styles, planning, and homeschooling encouragement curriculum reviews, then give me a like and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you will get notified for any new videos I put out. Be sure to check out the playlist below for all the other moms and for Wendy's channel and how they decided to talk about homeschooling myths. Also for you, I have free homeschool planning printables. You can find the link for that in the description as well. Also, if you'd like to know what your homeschooling style is, I made a quiz for you and that's in the description as well. So thanks for being here and I will see you next time. Happy homeschooling! I'm doing this with Wendy from Plan Prep Pray. Oh my gosh, how are we gonna say this, Wendy? Let me try it again. What about socialization?